Hi everyone, and welcome to the Libra July 2021 self-connection reading. Welcome! This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and meaning-based spiritual coaching services. I am Lauren. Hello. So today we are going to be looking at one of 3 connection readings that I put out for each sign each month. This is your self-connection reading, which takes a look at bringing awareness to your unique internal self. I also do a spiritual connection reading where we take a look at you and your unique internal self and how you engage that with your external environment and how you kind of work with destiny versus free will. And then we have a partnership connection reading, which takes a look at how you integrate and utilize your unique internal authentic self with others and their unique internal authentic self. Additionally, all readings and all content here on the YouTube channel and my website focus on utilizing the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool I've developed that utilizes the 3 principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and shows how when utilized together they can help not only bring awareness to your unique internal authentic self, but how to engage that in a active, productive, and emotionally fulfilling way so that you can be able to see your path and purpose and understand how you can help the greater collective experience as well as elevate your own. All right, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be pulling cards, 1 card for curiosity, courage, and contemplation with regards to bringing awareness this month to your unique internal authentic self. So the first card I'm going to pull is from the Power of Surrender deck, and this is going to be working with the principle of curiosity. So curiosity helps us become open and receptive to whatever we're directing that curiosity towards. So in the spiritual connection reading, we would be directing that externally to our external environment. In this self-connection reading, we're directing the curiosity inward towards our unique internal authentic selves. So when we're thinking about being open and receptive, I have noticed and experienced it myself that the older we get, the more we move away from the beneficial qualities of curiosity, which are keeping us open and aware to see new things, both about ourselves and about our external environment, and really tapping into that childlike sense of awe and wonder about just our entire life experience. And that all really comes from staying curious. But the older we get, we tend to move away from that. And what ends up happening is we end up getting, instead of optimistic and open and receptive, we can become pessimistic and closed and feel that either we know what's going to happen if we choose to take action towards something, or if we start to go down a certain path, we already know the outcome, so we close ourselves off to curiosity. Now, when we pull this inside, this is when we can become almost blind to our own abilities, our gifts, or where we start to push down our needs, our unique needs and wants and desires and dreams. And this can lead to frustration where we don't quite know where it's coming from. And it can also lead to a feeling of disconnection between you and your environment as well. All right, let's see here, Libra. You guys are awfully quiet. You don't want to talk. Let's see. What does Libra need? What's the main focus for July 2021 for Libra to be able to get a better idea of their unique selves? What do they need to be aware of? Ooh, no, not quite. Nothing wants to come out just yet. So July is, I'm hoping you guys are all having a great July. Oh, there we go. Let's see here. We have surrender to trust. That's a beautiful card. It says, trust yourself and your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you've chosen the right path. Now, when we're looking at curiosity, this is kind of the overarching question that you're going to be thinking about as the month goes on in regards to yourself. So when we think about surrender to trust, and where this is bringing in this trust yourself in your decisions, don't be swayed by other people, really take action and trust that you've chosen the right path. What a great message. But this is where you have to kind of be curious at this point. Where, if this is coming up and saying surrender to trust, where are you not trusting? Where have you decided to take action in some aspect of your life and you are a little wishy-washy? Maybe you're a little hesitant. Maybe you are being swayed by another person's opinion. And we can all go through periods of our life where we feel like we might not be on the right path. And it's my belief that we are always on the right path for ourselves. We can just lose connection to it, meaning we can forget that we are actually walking on our path. We are always on our journey, and instead we can kind of get lost in this place where we zone out and are just walking. And that's when we lose ourselves in the day-to-day tasks and aren't bringing awareness to the fact that we have kind of a bigger overarching purpose, or that at least in the little tasks we're finding meaning in them. We're bringing them back. We're aware. So in the self-connection reading, we're really asking ourselves, and especially you Libra, since this is your reading, bringing this back to yourself. So in every action that you choose to take throughout this month, you should be really asking yourself, am I trusting myself as I'm taking action, as I'm making decisions? But also, where do I feel that I want to take action? Where do I feel like I want to do this because I feel like it would help illuminate my path for me? And where am I pulling back? Where am I not trusting both in spirit and the divine? And where am I not trusting myself? And the underlying questions that come from this are then, why? So if this is something, let's say, around your interpersonal relationship, let's say this is in a romantic setting, and you really feel like, something has to change, or you feel like you want to have a conversation again about, something that might lead to some type of change, but you keep holding yourself back. And this could be around, I want to pursue a new avenue of interest, let's say in a hobby, and this is going to mean that you have to rearrange the schedule you have with somebody, or you want to express that maybe this is in the work world. You are not really feeling it at your job anymore, and maybe there's another side interest you want to pursue. But it'll come back then to you saying, well, no, I've already decided to pursue this aspect or this job, and I don't, if I do this, there's a lot of unknowns. And that's where we kind of hold ourselves off from going further with curiosity. Curiosity helps us turn our unique internal drives and desires and abilities and hopes into meaning and purpose, and allows us to engage then those authentically with our external environment. So when we're thinking about basically curiosity, turning our unique selves into opportunities in our external environment, I think this is really where you're trying to unlock this month what that one aspect or area of yourself you want to unlock but are hesitant to do so. So as we go through the month, this is going to be something to keep in the back of your mind. You're being told to trust yourself, trust in your uniqueness, trust that whatever need you need to have fulfilled in your external environment, that you feel internally, or whatever ability or hope or dream you are holding back on, you're being told it needs to come out. It's time to make that decision. If you're, let's say you're deciding to go back to school, this would be okay if you're thinking about it and it's in the back of your mind. Well, it's time. It's time to trust that this is part of your path. Or if you want to make a change at home, it's time to trust that that's part of your path. Or if you need to express your needs in a work environment, but you're just too afraid to do that, well, it's time to trust. I think really the part that's really standing out to me here too for you guys is it says, don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. So this is also about being curious as to where perhaps you tend to rely too much on what other people, this could either be a bad habit where you're constantly asking others for their input before making a decision, or this is where you are almost too tied. So Libras can get a bad rap, and now I have a Libra moon, so I actually almost act more on an unconscious, subconscious level as a Libra than Libra sun and rising signs. So I know what it's like to harness the power of Libra, but I also know the power, or I also know what it's like to be indecisive, because Libra, you guys have the beautiful ability to see from all sides and want to get all information before choosing to take action. And sometimes that can get in the way. It's a great element of curiosity, because in being curious, you can be asking people their opinions, you can be gaining more information, more insight to get a better view. But when we're looking at ourselves and bringing awareness to our internal unique selves, generally that's not going to, the awareness has got to start from within. You really can't ask the questions about yourself externally. You really have to start to unlock parts of yourself, bring them out, and then piece by piece start to kind of see where they fit in your external environment. And where a lot of people go wrong, and I know because I've been there myself, is where you have this need or this feeling of this desire, and instead of working with it on an internal level and really seeing, okay, if I have this need or desire and I want to start bringing it out, I'm just going to start bringing it out, and then I'm going to take a look at the consequences. I'm going to start taking action on it. What a lot of people do instead is they continue to hide that part of themselves, and then they go on this kind of quest to gain more information. And what happens is that when you're going on this quest to gain more information from your external environment about what's brewing inside of you, you end up not acting on what's inside of you. You push it back and push it back and push it back. And sometimes what can happen is that quest for more information, for more knowledge, for wanting to see all sides, ends up eating away at our time. And it ends up becoming a way for us to avoid moving from curiosity to courage, where in courage we take action. So I think this month, this is a good time to really evaluate, are you also, in addition to maybe not trusting yourself in a certain area, are you giving too much power away to your external environment, which includes the people in it, as to how you should act authentically? And really only you can make that decision, right? Okay, so now I'm going to pull a card for courage. I'm going to pull a spirit animal oracle card here. And when we're talking about courage, this is where we actually get the courage to make the decisions to take action on behalf of our authentic selves. And this is where, when we're being curious about ourselves and we're starting to notice something in some area, this is where we get a chance to then engage with that part of ourselves. So if you are being curious about where perhaps you want to take action, but are feeling like you're not trusting yourself completely or trusting the divine, and that this feeling of yours that needs to be expressed or needs to be realized is within your power to do so, but is also being called up at this time because it's part of your path, because it's going to engage and bring out this unique internal part of yourself. Then once you realize what aspect that is. So if that's an aspect that is, engaging you with a unique ability of yours. So let's say it's something where it's like writing or painting, or could even be on a different level than that. It could be, you really love sales. You want to go back into a sales-based position, or you realize that you want to go into counseling or something along those lines. Or it's where you are realizing a connection to a hope or a dream, or even a need to be filled. And if you're noticing that you're not trusting yourself and taking action, that's the place. That's the place to start with yourself this month. So now we're going to see what you need to know about taking action. Once you've discovered that part, once you've really taken curiosity to shine that spotlight inside. And again, your cards are just, you, Libra, you just really don't want. Very much like the Leo reading was like this too. It's funny, Virgo was like, here I am, here's the message coming right out. And Leo was like, don't want to go there. And Libra, I feel like you're kind of in the same spot. Ooh. Okay. So 2 cards came out. We have Rhino Spirit, and it says overcome any obstacle, number 50, which reduces to number 5. And we have Deer Spirit, and it says bring a gentle touch. I love this card. Number 18, reducing to number 9. So when we look at these 2 together, we have Rhino Spirit, overcome any obstacle, and Deer Spirit, bring a gentle touch. Now it seems almost kind of, in a way, counterintuitive that, okay, overcome any obstacle, and you think of a rhino, and a rhino's got horns, and a rhino charges, and then Deer Spirit says bring a gentle touch. It's the total opposite of that. It's like, okay, well, do I charge or do I bring a gentle touch? And what I think is interesting in these 2 cards is that when we're thinking about taking action towards that one area of yourself this month where you perhaps are being hesitant, where you're not fully trusting yourself, you're not fully engaging with that aspect, either an ability that needs to be expressed or a hope, dream, wish, desire, that perhaps in taking action, so first of all, you're being told to trust yourself and to take action. So yes, it is about overcoming any obstacle. There is this quality about this card here, especially with the number 50 reducing to the number 5. The number 5 is a number of change. It's a number, it can be a number of chaos, because it's about breaking something down to build anew. So there is this quality to this of change and things having to be shaken up a little bit. But that's how you overcome those obstacles, is that it's going to involve change, and that you're going to have to understand that that change comes from within first. So what this is telling me is that there's already been some type of internal change. That's actually why you're being asked to trust yourself, to surrender to trust, and to kind of pull within. And then in addition to that, to overcome any obstacle, so to understand that in you changing inside, as you're taking action, look to see how you can change, how maybe previously you took action before. Look to become aware of, this is kind of when I think about overcoming any obstacle, and I think about like a charging rhino, I think about somebody changing the status quo, somebody who comes in, and oftentimes I like to call this like the hero's mindset of, in the movie, there's always that point when you're watching a movie with a hero in it where everybody thinks they're kind of stuck and they can't see a workaround. We can't do that. We can't take action here because of X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden the hero pipes up and sees some inventive way to solve the problem or work around it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that you have this ability this month to really see past what is, past what has always been, whether it's in a relationship and it's status quo, and you can kind of see beyond it now to realize that this can be shaken up or it can be changed. I don't have to take action in the same way I always have. Or at work, that perhaps you felt like you kind of are hitting a wall in a certain area, but now you're noticing, well, maybe that wall has to come down. Maybe the organizational structure has to change. Maybe I can still, even though this isn't part of the chain of how people work their way up currently in my job, I'm feeling the need to ask how I can go from here to here. And maybe that does mean that I have to break a few rules to get from here to here, but I'm still going to take action to do it. So there's this element of changing your perspective internally to be able to overcome external obstacles in expressing some part of yourself that needs to be expressed right now. Now, with the deer spirit coming in along with this, the bring a gentle touch. Now, the number 18 reduces to the number 9, and the number 9 is a beautiful culmination number that really speaks to the quality within ourselves, the magician quality within ourselves, that we have this ability to take all of the lessons we've learned up into this point through direct experience and be able to apply them in new ways. And when I look at bring a gentle touch, well, as you're starting to overcome obstacles and you're starting to kind of look, you're changing your perspective of what has up until this point maybe seemed like a roadblock to you in expressing some aspect or following some aspect of your internal self. The one thing I'd say is when you think of bring a gentle touch, there is this quality of we can overcome, and I think it's needed now more than ever, because we tend to, especially right now in our society, we have a very fast-paced, kind of in-your-face, I'm gonna go out and get it on my behalf. And from the TV shows we watch to social media, we're living in a time where it's kind of a lot of like, listen to me, my opinion matters, like yours doesn't. And so there's a lot of this kind of hostile, aggressive energy. And the beauty of life is that there is always a balance, right? So for all of the aggression on one side, there has to be this kind of energy as well. Bring a gentle touch. Actually, what I'm kind of feeling between these two cards, and I don't know if any of you guys like old movies, but it makes me think of the movie Gone with the Wind, or the book if you've read it, where the two main heroine characters, we have Scarlett and we have Melanie. Now, they're both strong female characters who equally get things done in their lives and are equally as able to follow their own authentic paths, their own authentic selves, but are two very different versions of being a strong, powerful woman. Scarlett is overt. She's in your face. She's going to be the person who goes out and gets what she wants, and she doesn't care if she has to hurt people to do it. And Melanie's the opposite. She is very soft and gentle and graceful, but still yields a lot of her own power because people respect her. People kind of fear and are in awe of Scarlett's external power, and people are respectful and in awe of Melanie's internal grace and wisdom that she represents. And so it's a very interesting dynamic between these two characters. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that what this is showing is that you can still outwardly change your environment by coming within and internally changing yourself and acting from this place of softness. You can make great changes. You can follow your heart's desire without, even though it's going to involve change, you don't have to break apart your entire life and hurt other people while overcoming obstacles. You can simply trust that the universe is on your side, that these parts of yourself that are feeling like they need to come out now, they're coming up for a reason, because they are meant to fulfill some role in your external environment and also to bring some type of emotional fulfillment to you at the same time. So in understanding your own power to be able to navigate change and change yourself to overcome just through your own indomitable human spirit, your own spirit, you can do it though in a way that is graceful. And I love this image of the deer because it's very feminine. There's a quality to it where you kind of keep like looking, like you just want to reach out and like pet it. And that gentle touch is what brings, it's almost what attracts people to you, attracts circumstances as you're going forward on your path, and you're just gracefully within yourself, trusting yourself, and coming from that place of almost like internal wisdom and respect. Well, people really respect and respond to that in the external environment. And I think we've been taught, especially here in America, to be so outward and to be so aggressive in our actions, very masculine in our actions, where we're pushing instead of being kind of more feminine and being receptive. And I think this month, this is about tapping into, and when I say feminine, it doesn't mean female. It just means the counterbalance to masculine energy, which is outward and aggressive. And this is tapping into the counter, the balancing aspect, which Libra, you're very good at understanding the balance between things. Tapping into the receptive energy of almost, and when we tap into receptive energy, that's really where we can start to actually feel more in flow than when we're tapping into masculine energy, because it's where we feel at first like we're like, okay, things are coming into alignment. As I walk forward, the things I need are coming towards me instead of me having to go towards it. So it's almost like when we become curious on this level, we tap into this feminine receptive energy, and we come from a place of true confidence in self. It'll start to feel like things are like the opportunities are coming towards you. So let's say this is making the decision to go back to school. And it's a big one. It's something you've been hesitating on, because it does mean having to change what is currently in your life. Whether this is how you balance a job along with going back to school, or balancing a home environment along with going back to school, being able to figure out and maybe find alternative ways of income or paying to go back to school. That what this could look like, as far as if you were, let's say, overcome any obstacle, would mean, if you did it in a masculine way, it'd be like saying, okay, well, you're in a committed partnership. Let's say you have children at home, and you railroad your partner by saying, I want to go back to school. It's going to be this much money. I'm going to have to quit my job, and you're just going to have to figure it out and pick up the slack, or else. But I have to do this. That might not get the best response from your significant other. That might make them feel like you are, kind of infringing on their own authentic experience. But it also comes across as, sometimes when we act like that, it actually comes across the reverse. Not that we're trusting in ourselves, but that we actually have a lack of confidence in ourselves. So we kind of have to push. We transfer our we transfer externally, trying to show that we're confident by just kind of beating. It's like the bully trying to pretend like he's confident by beating somebody up, when in reality it's the lack of confidence that makes him want to beat somebody up. Where instead, if you come to your partner in a different way to say, I've looked at all the obstacles that this is going to entail with me going back to school, and it's going to be this much money, and it's going to mean that I'm going to have to only work X amount of hours. But I've found a scholarship program that I'm applying to right now, and I realize if I continue to work 20 hours a week, and I've already asked my boss that I can continue to work from home, I can cover the cost of this, but we're going to have to discuss how the children get picked up from school and how, that kind of thing. But coming across more like, let's work together towards this. Not that I'm going to back down if you tell me no, but that I need this to happen. I need to express this part of myself. I need to experience this part of myself. And I've done what Libra does best. I've looked at all options. I've figured out the best route. And now I really want to express to you just how much this means to me. And I hope you can help me on this path. And what happens is when we express ourselves like that, especially in the way that we take action, that's when people actually want to come in and help. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have in my own life. where a lot of times I'll just be offhand telling somebody about something that I'm pursuing, and I'm not even asking for help. I'm not sitting here going, hey, this is why I'm telling you about this part of myself because I'm hoping you can help me. Instead, the more you just express that you're doing this side project or working towards this or whatever it is, people will perk their ears up and say, well, I think I actually know somebody who can help you on that level. Or I know somebody who went back to school and they told me that they applied for this and this grant and they got all kinds of money. Or, hey, have you taken a look at doing this first versus this? Like, people love to come in and offer advice. Now, granted, you don't have to take that advice, but you can be receptive to it, because as you're moving forward now, as you're more engaged with your path, you're going to start to notice, like, oh my gosh, there's like this like roadside stand over here, and it says free help if you want to go back to school. And oh my gosh, this seems like there's this person up ahead who is holding like a diploma this way arrow. And that's where we start to feel in flow. When we make the decision to take action, to trust ourselves, to not hesitate, to keep going forward, but to do so in a way that is not going to change the paths of others. That is about bringing awareness to our own path through bringing out something unique within ourselves into our external environment, and then waiting for us to realize the opportunities that are surrounding us, that are like, yay, you're finally realizing, you're finally pulling your head up from looking at the ground to see all these opportunities. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for contemplation. And contemplation is the final principle in the Triad of Engagement, and it works with helping us take a time to step back and integrate what the consequences and reactions to our actions, so that we can learn, so that we can continue to, from direct experience with our external environment, continue to take in information, make minor adjustments, and be able to kind of start the process all over again. So this is really where contemplation is a very powerful tool. It's where we get to connect what we were curious about with where we took action, and then what happened, and then be able to bring that back to ourselves. And this allows us to really continue to unlock and grow our internal unique selves, and prevents us from kind of getting into that place where you get stuck, where you're wondering why something keeps happening to you. If you're contemplating on your actions and you're staying curious as to what's coming in, you shouldn't be stuck in the same pattern, because you would notice it right off the bat. You would be able to contemplate and be like, the last time I decided to date somebody who did X, Y, and Z, that's what happened. I now have to change some aspect of my internal self, which is take action in a different way when I meet somebody like this. Or I'm going to start to be curious about why I'm naturally drawn to somebody who is X, Y, and Z. And as I'm being curious about it and kind of being this, external observer of myself in engagement with this type of person, now I'm going to change how I engage with them and see if that results in a different result. And then we bring it back and we start the cycle again. So that's just an example of how contemplation works. But for you guys, for this month, we have Lemuria, and it says creating heaven on earth. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, in that deck. So what I'm feeling here is, as this final message for bringing that connection and awareness to self, there is this quality of bringing this back to the trust, especially with the last part where it says take action and be confident that you've chosen the right path. And that path is leading you to this, to your version of heaven on earth. And we each have the ability to create that for ourselves. So I mention in a lot of my readings that we all have our own, we're each a singularity. We have our own perspective, our own unique needs, wants, hopes, abilities, desires, and no two of us will ever have the same life experience. We are truly on our own experience at this time, seeing from behind our eyes. And the beauty of that is that we get the chance to understand what our own version of heaven would look like for ourselves. And no two people will ever have the same version of heaven, meaning their kind of perfect version of life. Because one man's heaven can very easily be another person's hell. That one person may think, all I want to do is like hang out at the beach and drink Coronas for the rest of my life, and that would be my perfect idea of heaven. And another person who loves to be intellectually stimulated and loves to be physically challenged is going to look at that and go, oh my God, that'd be so boring. I'd be over that in 2 seconds. And their version of heaven is very different, far more active. But that's what we're actually actively creating here on earth by bringing out our authentic selves, being aware of what makes us different from others, and then engaging that with our external environment. This is where we actually get to manifest what works for us, what meets our needs, what meets our dreams and desires and hopes. Basically, creating our version of heaven on earth. And so I think this is kind of just a great message to sum up, to contemplate on where, taking a look at that part of yourself that you feel now compelled to follow, perhaps that you've been, again, hesitant to do so, whether just because of lack of self-confidence or whether you've been swayed by too many people's opinions, and where now that part of yourself connects to your greater dream and desire for what you want to experience out of your external environment. So let's say you do feel like you want to go back to school to become a counselor. Well, how does that fit in to helping you get one step closer to being part of not only elevating the collective experience, but elevating your own experience at the same time? Meaning, do you want to go back? What's your why? What's your why behind the actions to become a counselor now at this time in your life? Is it because you feel like at this time it's needed in a specific area, that there's a specific demographic of people that really need to hear your message and be helped by you, but that also at the same time, in doing this would fulfill some aspect of yourself that you've really wanted to do, that you felt called to help people in this level. So you're not only fulfilling your need to sit one-on-one with people and work with them to elevate them to a higher level of their own experience, but that also you're doing that at the same time for you? Or is it because you feel that you want to be a counselor because it's going to intellectually stimulate you, and you're excited to go back and learn the science behind how people work on an internal level, and part of this is you think is maybe a stepping stone to you going further into maybe a medical practice? And this is just kind of the first touching on is this what I want to do? So it's kind of understanding, where is this need now within yourself? What's the larger application and the why behind it? And this is going to help give you clarity as to, and give you the confidence as well to continue to move on to overcome any obstacle. Because once you know your why, it's very easy to just keep going. To say, no, I understand the meaning and the importance of where I'm choosing to take action. And so that's where I'm going to that's why I'm going to keep taking action. And I'm going to keep doing it no matter what, in this gentle, quiet way. I'm going to keep making those decisions and taking action behind the scenes. And I think this is a beautiful message, Libra. I feel like your messages for the past 2 months have really been coming out as you're seeing your path. You're being called to kind of come into your own, and face this kind of internal doubt, because it is hard. It's very difficult when you feel a part of you, when you're becoming aware of a new part of yourself. even if it's an old part of yourself, but you're becoming aware of it now in a different time, in a different context, it can be very scary to have to realize that a lot of things in your life are going to have to change to follow or to express this part of yourself. But the beauty of knowing and having faith that this part of yourself is here for you for a reason. So you're a singularity. You have your own unique hope sets and dreams combined with your own unique experience and perspective. And so whatever you're feeling called to express is needed. You can choose not to meet destiny, and you can choose to, through your own free will, not take action and not bring this part of yourself out. And that's only going to lead to frustration and stagnation and a feeling like everybody else gets the chance to do what they want to do and you don't. And it can, it may not get to that point, but it could also just leave you feeling like you're always asking that question of what if? What if I had done that? What if I had followed that? And what you get the chance to do is instead switch that around and through faith really understand, no, I do have a purpose. There's a reason why I want or need this now and others don't in my life, but I do because this is me. This is my life. I'm living my life. I'm walking my path. I'm on my journey. And I'm going to trust that. And I know that that's what's going to ultimately taking action towards lead me to my version of my heaven. And when we do that, we naturally elevate not only ourselves, we internally evolve and grow spiritually, but we also elevate the entire collective experience by just being true to ourselves because we're taking care of ourselves. We're being self-responsible to ourselves in unlocking that part of ourselves. We don't need others to come in and fulfill emotional needs because we're fulfilling them for ourselves. We don't need to wonder at where our meaning comes from in our life or wonder where our purpose is because we're actively engaging with it. So that let's say if you do want to move forward and becoming a counselor, that's bringing meaning to your present moment, because everything you do, that every action you take towards achieving that goal has meaning, has direct, authentic meaning to you. It may not to another person. You could go to your neighbor 2 doors down and say, hey, I want to be a counselor. And they're like, that's a difficult job. I would never want to do that. And to them, it sounds horrible. But to you, it's all you want to do. And so with every action you take in your external environment to work with this internal need of yours, that's authentic engagement. And so there's meaning in each thing that you do. So if you decide to sit there and take 2 hours every night to get online and take an online course, or you're, setting aside an hour every morning to read from a textbook that's getting you one step closer, or whatever it is, every time you do one of those little things, it's a task that holds meaning to you. It doesn't hold, again, we can't build meaning for other people. We can only build it for ourselves. And so the more that you do that for yourself, the more other people around you can be free to do the same. And that's the beauty of being self-responsible to ourselves, is that you then allow other people to then elevate and focus on themselves. All right, Libra, I hope this has made sense. I kind of got a little off tangent there at the end, but beautiful reading. I mean, I think everybody wants to hear this message, but it's coming out for you specifically this month. So, excuse me. There seems to be, that this message of go for it now and keep going. Just keep going. Just your gentle, beautiful, Venus-inspired Libra self. Keep going. Keep going towards that goal. Keep going towards that. Don't hold back that area if you need to, if it's around self-expression. And just get excited about where this is now going to take you. Because clearly it has a beautiful, beneficial outcome. So this is where it's really about tapping into that, also that feeling of anticipation of like, okay, I've picked my head up. I realize I'm back on my journey again. And now where are each of these decisions going to, what are they going to open up for me? What am I going to see new and fresh and exciting? And how is that going to make me get one step closer to realizing this experience in my tangible reality? All right, Libra, I hope you have a fantastic July. I also hope that you check out your 2 other connection readings. And if you'd like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session with me, the link to my website is in the description box below. Bye.